I was just saying it's lovely to be here. Thanks so much for giving me the time to speak at Midwifery Hour. It's lovely, if not a little daunting, to be here speaking to about 300 of my peers, so there's no pressure there. But seriously, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you tonight about bereavement care and for families experiencing pregnancy loss or the death of a baby, and specifically about bereavement care training for healthcare professionals. So a lot of people ask why and how I became a bereavement midwife. Um, I was a midwife that worked predominantly on labour ward for quite a lot of years, and there was a turning point in my career when I had quite a difficult experience supporting a family through the stillbirth of a baby. I was scared and unprepared, and I felt unsupported, and I made a mistake while providing that care. Thankfully, that mistake on that occasion didn't impact on the family, but it really affected me. And this was the trigger really that pushed me to want to learn more about reducing stillbirth and helping families through bereavement. So I became a bereavement midwife at my local hospital in Barnsley in 2017, and I absolutely loved developing the bereavement service and shaping the support that our families received during their most traumatic and difficult times. And seeing the improvements in care that we were able to provide was one of my greatest achievements. Most of us enter midwifery to bring new life into the world, and few of us ever imagined that our careers might involve caring for babies who have died and providing compassionate care to their families. But I feel this is my true calling, and it's been an absolute privilege to make a difference in the lives of families who've experienced pregnancy loss and baby death, and to be able to care for them during the most tragic circumstances. Since then, I've moved on to be the healthcare education lead at SANS, and now I've got this amazing opportunity to share the knowledge and experience that I gained in that role by creating and facilitating training to support and enable healthcare professionals across the UK to provide excellent bereavement care. And as Marc said in his little talk, one of SAN's key aims is to care and support for all, ensuring that everyone affected by pregnancy loss and the death of a baby receives the care and support that they need. And the importance of training for healthcare professionals just cannot be overstated. How can we expect healthcare professionals to provide high quality bereavement care if they aren't given the training that they require? So that's where our training comes in. Our goal at SANS is to equip healthcare professionals with the knowledge and skills that they need to offer high quality, sensitive and compassionate bereavement care. And by investing in training and our own personal development, we can significantly enhance the support provided to bereaved parents during one of the most challenging times in their lives. So over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to give you a very brief insight into the bereavement care training that we offer for healthcare professionals and share an insight into the training options that we've got available from SANS. But just to give you some context, these training subjects on their own often take the form of a full day workshop. So this session is going to literally be a small snapshot of what we can cover in training. So I'm going to start off by talking to you about the bereavement care journey. And every individual who experiences pregnancy loss or the death of a baby has a unique experience, regardless of the type of loss that they face. So as Marc said, there are predominantly 5 types of pregnancy loss and baby death that SANS encompasses. And during each of those types of loss, most people go through various stages in that bereavement care journey, and they typically include stages that include diagnosis of a loss and the breaking of bad or unexpected news. Obviously, the mother is still pregnant, so she needs ongoing antenatal care. She needs to prepare for labour. She then has to go through that process of labour and birth. And postnatal care, so at some point she's got a baby in her arms and she needs to be cared for physically and emotionally through that time. And following on from that, there are lots of administrative tasks that they need to consider as parents. So things like registering the baby's birth and death, planning a funeral, consenting to post-mortem, and then ongoing care right into the future, including debrief and review. And it's essential that at each stage of the journey, the necessary support and care is provided to bereaved parents, helping them to navigate their grief and begin the healing process. So if we look at what traditional view of grief looked like, It used to be seen as a linear process with predictable emotions that follow a curve or a linear pattern. But in reality, it's a really personal and individual experience, and it doesn't follow a set pattern. It's much more like a chaotic scribble. Each individual has their own unique experience. And although they touch on all of these emotions and feelings, they come across in a much more fluctuating way. They're wide ranging, they're overlapping, and they're conflicting. And as a healthcare professional, it's really important that we understand this process, that they're not on a linear journey. They're not going from start to finish. There's some chaotic movement between feelings and emotions that occur, and that is right through the rest of their lifetime. There is no end point on this journey of grief. So it's important that we understand that as healthcare professionals and that we provide high quality care individualised to each person in order to reduce the immediate and long-term negative effects of the loss. And while we think about these feelings that might affect a person, we also need to be very conscious that parents might be feeling overwhelmed by so many things that they're experiencing and needing to think about all at once. And a recent study called this the magnifying moment. And you can see on screen lots of these concepts appearing, things that parents might be experiencing or are being expected to or asked to think about. And this term describes how all of these challenges can add up, making it even harder for parents to cope emotionally and mentally during such a difficult time. And understanding and addressing these challenges is key to providing the right care and support to grieving parents. So, for example, some parents might be experiencing sleep deprivation caused by the emotional distress, and that lack of sleep impairs cognitive functions such as memory, concentration, decision making. And this just shows how grief can infiltrate and disrupt all forms of daily life. Processing information and making important decisions, deciding whether to agree on a post-mortem can be a really emotionally taxing decision, or arranging a funeral, which is something that a young family might never have even ever thought about having to do. And this adds to the significant burden that an already difficult time. Families might have other children, family members, they might have a job and need to tell work, and breaking the news or just the thought of breaking that news to other people can be a really, really difficult process and profoundly challenging for these parents to navigate. So the term the magnifying moment from the Discern study highlights how all of these challenges add up, making it even harder for parents to cope emotionally and mentally during this difficult time. In order to create a safe and supportive environment for bereaved parents, understanding the impact of trauma on cognitive function is essential for healthcare professionals. So when we're in a normal, calm state and everything's okay, our brain functions normally using the prefrontal cortex. It helps us to think, make decisions, and make memories. We've got lots of feel-good hormones floating around, and they enhance our learning and memory processes. But during stressful events, like the death of a loved one, or in this case, a baby, our brain behaves differently. The stress hormones rise and deplete those feel-good hormones, and this affects our happiness and ability to think straight. The prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of thinking and learning in a rational and logical way, goes offline. And the emotional brain, the limbic system, takes over, and the brain switches into survival mode. And we can often see survival mode in play in individuals when we break news to them or when they're experiencing a pregnancy or baby loss. And those modes are fight, flight, and freeze. So you might be looking after a family who you break bad news to and they're going to flight mode. They want to escape, they want to run away, they want to lash out. They might be in flight mode where they just want to get away from the situation and not really be part of that. They don't want to believe that it's real. Or they might go into freeze mode where they become numb and unable to think straight or speak or convey what they're feeling and experiencing. By this stage, this protective mechanism means that the brain is in a state of trauma. We're unable to think clearly. We're unable to make sensible decisions. We're unable to make memories in a constructive way. And we're unable really in a logical way to make decisions. And that's when you might hear lots of parents describing that they've got a brain fog. I found this quote when I was doing some research for the memory making training package that we deliver at SANS. And if we consider this quote in terms of pregnancy and baby death, pregnancy loss and baby death, trauma isn't just the bad stuff that happened, it's also the good stuff that never happened. So with the bad stuff referring to the pregnancy loss or baby death itself, which is obviously an incredibly painful and traumatic event for parents, and the good stuff referring to the care and support that we provide during this time. Even though we can't change the loss, the quality of care can make a huge difference to how parents cope and heal in the long term. So the trauma that parents experience isn't always just about the painful event itself, but it can be about those missed opportunities, the lack of kindness or empathy or support that should have been given, but for one reason or another, it wasn't. And this demonstrates how important it is to provide compassionate, supportive care to parents, because without that care, we might add to the trauma and make things even worse for the family. So how can we as healthcare professionals prevent that from happening? Well, it's really important that we understand what bereaved parents are experiencing, what the effect of how the effect of trauma is impacting their thoughts and feelings. And although we can't take away the pain of that loss, good bereavement care can improve their immediate and long-term well-being. Compassionate care is key to helping parents deal with the grief and navigate their emotions more effectively. And by offering support and understanding, we can help to improve emotional and psychological outcomes for parents during this traumatic time. So what do parents want and need? A SANS survey of bereaved parents identified 4 key elements of good bereavement care. The first of those being recognition of their parenthood. They told by using the baby's name and encouraging them to have normal interactions and activities like bathing and dressing the baby and offering opportunities for them to make memories with the baby. Parents told us they wanted sensitive communication. They wanted wanted us to acknowledge how they were feeling. They wanted us to be honest but gentle and be ready for silence and tears. It's okay. Use language that is appropriate and gentle to each individual. Bereaved parents wanted informed choice. They wanted us to share the options that they faced clearly and in a sensitive way. We can encourage parents to ask questions and we can provide clear answers, acting as advocates for the parents and supporting them to express their preferences. And the final key element of bereavement care that came out of that survey was compassion and empathy, enabling a connection between the families and the healthcare professionals caring for them. They wanted us to demonstrate genuine concern and kindness. They wanted us to be empathic, sharing the feelings of those parents and imagining the experience that they're going through without judgment, offering a safe space for parents to express the grief and emotions and enhancing that overall bereavement care experience. By incorporating these elements into bereavement care provides parents with comfort, understanding and person-centred care. And by focusing on these strategies, healthcare professionals can lessen the impact of trauma and support parents as they grieve the loss of their baby. So in a nutshell, knowledge of and understanding of the impact of trauma with individualised parent-led bereavement care enables us to provide better support and improved outcomes for grieving parents. This approach not only helps to meet the individual and immediate needs, but also ongoing support, acknowledging that grief is a complicated and ongoing journey. It helps to lessen the effects of grief and trauma and allows us to create a supportive space for parents as they cope with their unique experiences. So as we said, one of SANS aims is to provide care for everyone, and SANS ensures that everyone is affected by pregnancy loss or the death of a baby gets the care and support that they need. And again, we can't expect healthcare professionals to be able to provide that care if they aren't provided with the training that they need. So we as a charity offer healthcare professionals training to enable them to have the knowledge that they need to offer high quality and compassionate care. So SANS training, who is it for? So it's for any healthcare professional that comes into contact with parents who are encountering any of the 5 types of loss. So you might be a hospital-based healthcare professional that works in a multidisciplinary team. You might be a doctor, a midwife, a nurse. You might be a student midwife or a support worker. You might work in mental health services, or you might be a medical examiner, a coroner, a pathologist, or mortuary staff. Anyone who's a healthcare professional working with bereaved parents can benefit from the training. And likewise, professionals working in a community setting outside of the hospital can also access training that's appropriate for their profession when caring for bereaved parents. And again, you can see a long list of the healthcare professionals there and community professionals that can benefit from SANS training. So what does it cover? Well, there is a huge list of things that we cover. In a nutshell, it's pregnancy loss, baby death, and bereavement care. But you can see from the list below that there are lots of other subheadings and subtopics that we can cover in immense detail or as part of a more broad package of training. They come as a set package that you can see on the website. So we offer webinars which are free to access, they're funded by SANS, or we can create bespoke, externally funded webinars for your individual organisation. And we also offer the same service through workshops, which can be half day or full day or anywhere in between, depending on your needs as an organisation. It's also really important to note that any of the training can be delivered in any format to meet what your needs are as an organisation. So if you want us to cover something quite specific, so if you've had a surge of incidents in your particular area that you feel you need some training on and it's related to bereavement care, then absolutely get in touch and we can arrange some training to cover that specifically. SANS have also worked really closely with Dr. Julie Jones at the University of West London, and she's created a postgraduate module, and it's the first of its kind in the UK. This is looking at perinatal loss. It's a level 7 postgraduate qualification, which offers 40 credits, and it's a module tailored for healthcare professionals such as midwives, specialist bereavement midwives, nurses, and doctors who wish to get a recognised academic qualification in perinatal loss to support career progression in the field of perinatal bereavement. And while there are training fees involved, SANS prioritises enabling high quality care, and it's open to collaboration for tailored training sessions. So in terms of accessing our training, we've got a microsite within the SANS website, and you can go on there and really easily access a list of all the training sessions that we offer and all the free webinars that are available to you as well. And if you wanted to scan the QR code that's on screen, that's a link that will take you directly into the microsite to access that training. The parent experience and therefore a parent voice is integral and at the centre of everything that we do at SANS. And I think this quote really emphasises the importance of training for healthcare professionals, providing that they have the necessary skills, resources and confidence to deliver high quality, compassionate bereavement care. This is a quote from a bereaved parent that she gave to us at SANS. And she said, "All the midwives we met genuinely seemed to care, and we could see that his death affected them too. Their tears were a true blessing. All of this was so important. We weren't a statistic, we were a family. Being able to leave hospital with him cradled in the arms of a midwife who'd cared for us and spent time with us made the hardest, worst thing I have ever had to find the strength to do manageable. I look back on his birth and our time in the bereavement suite, and I don't just remember the sadness, I remember real love, compassion, care, and our parenthood being recognised. I feel lucky to have had such wonderful midwives." And I think that just really demonstrates the positive impact that we as healthcare professionals can have on parents, just like Hori's mum has described there. And it's an impact that will last a lifetime. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hand back over to Hannah and she'll be able to let us know if you've got any questions.